Happy Sunday, Risers. Krystal and I are back to answer your questions in another round of hashtag Rising Qs. Let's dive right in, shall we?
I think we
Number
shall.
one. Why don't the candidates hit Joe Biden on his terrible record in the Senate, China, trade, crime bill, drug sentencing disparity, etc.? Will, you're speaking my language.
Yeah, because they're scared. I mean, look, here's the what's fraught is you see what happened to Kamala Harris. She really had the most effective attack on Joe Biden. It actually landed. It hit him in the polls. She came up, and then it completely flipped. And that's her fault because she equivocated on the busing thing. She didn't follow through.
And because I think it was disingenuous from the beginning, which is that she didn't actually care. She didn't have a real position on school busing.
Yeah, and she had the T-shirts ready. It felt too prepackaged, but I think that kind of scared people off. You also had Julian Castro, Eric Swalwell tried to hit him. Remember, that was really lame. Then he drops out.
Yeah.
Julian tried to hit him. That didn't work out. People thought he was too mean. So the fear is it's going to backlash onto you, and all of these people want to pick up Biden supporters, so they're hoping one of their opponents does the dirty work for them.
It's just a very foolish takeaway because the thing is you just have to hit Biden on the right issues. Hitting him for being old, that is mean. Hitting him on busing whenever you're disingenuous on busing, that's a bad attack.
Right.
Hitting him, calling him, saying that you're carrying on the Obama legacy when you were like a no-name HUD secretary for 2 years is pretty dumb. But you know what Bernie's most effective moment in the debate was? Whenever he said, let's talk about your record. Let's talk about what you did. You got us into the war in Iraq. You passed PNTR with China. But the thing is, he'll only do that for 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, he's like, oh, Joe is my friend. I've known him for 30 years or whatever. It's like, he's not your friend, Bernie. He's not your friend. Same with Warren. She's like, oh, well, Biden sat there, took credit for her on the CFPB, saying that he got it passed, and she just sits there and takes it.
She just took it.
What is going on? I'm losing my mind. I mean, you're supposed to hit people.
Especially when people know, like, who's up next? Trump. And he's not going to be afraid. So if you aren't ready and able to at least counterpunch, let alone strike the first blow, then you just end up looking weak. I mean, I think we're getting down to it now. I think there was a theory that was held by a lot of the pundits here in D.C. A lot of people believed that Biden was going to basically, like, hang himself. Like his support was just going to erode by himself with his, every time he goes out, he says something bad. He calls a voter fat and challenges him to a push-up contest, or he like goes crazy about this immigration act. So they thought the support would just go away on its own. No, it's not going to. You're going to have to shift up the dynamic in this race yourself if you want to climb to the top of the polls. So it's time, folks. All right, next we've got Lev on Instagram wants to know who benefits the most from Kamala Harris dropping out. I mean, let's be real. She had like 3% of the vote.
Yeah, she had like 4% of the vote. The data I have seen basically says generally equal split between Buttigieg, Warren, and Biden. Maybe a little bit to Bernie as well.
Yeah.
But the only place it actually matters, California. She had 7% of the vote there. A lot of that, some of that was black support, some of that was white support. I think it'll probably be equally split amongst Biden. He might generate the most amount from that bump, but really remains to be seen. We just don't know. And also, like Krystal said, she just doesn't have that much percent of the vote. It didn't really matter.
So the LA Times poll of California that came out this week, they had second choices and then they reallocated Kamala's support. She was at 7% in that poll amongst the other contenders. And yeah, it didn't shift things much. I think Bernie was at 24, he moves up to 25. Warren was at 22, she moves up to 24. Biden got the balance, essentially, the support. So it's going to be kind of evenly split among the top four and not really shift up the dynamics, I think, that much.
All right, number 3, and we spent a lot of time on this.
We really thought about this one.
From Julian, what Harry Potter house would each Democratic presidential candidate be? So we came up with the definitive list here. It was very controversial. A lot of different parties were involved. There's still some disagreement here on this, but let's go down the list. Number 1, Joe Biden. My call, Hufflepuff. Do you agree?
I don't really. You're more of the expert on this. I understand Gryffindor and Slytherin. Hufflepuff and Ravenclaw, I couldn't really tell you much
so they're
about.
kind of lame. Okay, so Buttigieg, we say Ravenclaw. He's got that snide kind of intellectualism about him. Ravenclaw generally...
That's a fit. I get that one.
Right, and so, Warren, also Ravenclaw. she's a little bit too bookish, right? That's the main critique of them.
Well, and it makes sense to me that the two of them would be in the same house, even though that would be surprising to some because we see the overlap in their support.
Exactly.
So that I get.
Bringing the real analysis here.
Yes, indeed.
Okay, Bernie. This is the most controversial.
This was controversial.
One. Gryffindor, right? So he's got the courage to stand up and to speak it how it is. He stands up for the little guy, although he has his own intellectualism behind him. What do you think, Krystal? She doesn't really agree.
I don't know. That doesn't quite fit with me. I mean, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Courageous, doing the right thing, standing up for his values. But
standing up for others.
For others, that's true. Yeah. That's true. I don't know. Gryffindor has a little bit more of a goody two shoes vibe to me than Bernie has, but none of the other ones really fit either. I propose for the establishment, he would definitely be Slytherin.
Yes, right. Yeah.
From their perspective, he would definitely be Slytherin.
Right.
But from our view, I guess I'll go with Gryffindor.
Okay, so Tulsi, we said Slytherin. Not to smear Tulsi. We're just saying that she's got that Slytherin vibe, and as we learned in Harry Potter, being Slytherin doesn't always mean that that's bad.
That you're bad, and she scares all the other contenders.
But on the converse side, she scares everybody else. Conversely, as a bad Slytherin, we have Michael Bloomberg, the evil monomaniacal billionaire trying to use his power for ill. So these things can be good, they can also be bad.
Indeed.
Andrew Yang, we had to spend a lot of time on this one.
Yeah.
Very tough. Had to go with Ravenclaw just because of the nerdiness aspect, the bookishness, the math. If you have a math hat, probably a Ravenclaw.
But he's such a heterodox guy. It makes sense that it would be so hard to pin him in one house.
Right.
He's got, he's not left or right, he's forward. And so it's very hard to say you're in one house or the other. He doesn't want to be pigeonholed that way. Mm-hmm. So I think that's the issue.
Maybe he's Hogwarts first. You see what I did there? All right, and then Klobuchar, Hufflepuff, lame. So that's my definitive ranking list. Krystal and I, we had a little bit of disagreement on Bernie. Let us know actually in the comment section what you think. Tweet at us, etc.
All right, that does it for us this Sunday morning. We'll see you back here tomorrow a.m. for another amazing Rising show. Have a great Sunday.